of what we're
And
experiencing, and
that's
it's
what
not.
it is.
It's just a tiny sliver.
Okay, I'm recording.
Yay!
Here on in. Okay. Where we got to last night, Donna and I just started sharing where we were at and realising we were on the same page about a few things. So, looking at these doings that we've been doing and how the number 4 has been showing up over and over again, 4 aspects of these deities, 4 fractals of them. You know, you've got these deities with 4 arms, 4 eyes, 4 faces, 4 this, 4 that, and beings are showing up for people in groups of 4. And they're showing up in a way that fits in with their belief structures, their stories, you know, whether it's for wizards or for beings or for
whales,
yeah. Right? And it's all very conveniently fits very beautifully into people's narratives. And what we got was that this was all a distraction, total distraction. So, and almost like you take one out and 4 more replace it, and that, if any of this psyoping that's been going on has been giving any real intel, it was that we've got one more thing up our sleeve, and that would be just having us literally chasing our tails, chasing our tails, chasing our tails, and chasing.
There's one more. We've got one more. Oh, there's another one. There's another one that's appeared in Tibet, and there's another one that's appeared in. Well, we haven't hit
We've
South
been
America.
there before, have we not, Dee?
Yeah, we've been there before.
Just one more thing to. Yeah, we've been
It's
there.
just one more thing that has to be done.
And looking at where we were before Lulu showed up. Now, in the weeks, for me, the weeks 2 or 3 weeks before that, I guess, I don't know, maybe more. When my mojo came back on, whatever that was, right? That was just an incredible period. And it was just one thing, literally every day, synchronistic events happening. I was expanding, all sorts of shit was going on. And I felt so close. And we felt like we were all so close to this whole thing being done. And I know Donna was too. And her whole focus was on getting home, wherever that, whatever that looked like. And yet since then, I mean, what Lulu did, and obviously it's been psyoped at some point, and we may never know at which point. It might have been just before the obvious, or it might have been a long time before the obvious. But what she did was give us a collective vision.
Reference point?
Yeah. And to me, that was incredibly powerful, right? Because everybody says we're done, we want out, we want this whole thing gone, but no one really knew what that looked like. No one knows what's on the other side of that, all of that. So just to give so many people the same vision and the same focal point, exactly. Because as Darius reminded us of very, very well last night, energy goes where attention flows, right? Or whatever, however that fucking phrase works. And
energy flows where attention goes.
Something like that. And we were all, well, at least Donna and I were so focused on going home, getting out of here. And then I think it has felt over the last week that we've been getting further and further away from that, not closer. Every time there is one of the doings, right? So, and then of course whatever happened to me this morning, which was if I could only remember the second thing that they said. So what is it?
Mind wipe, yeah. Maybe after we finish recording this, you should just go back to bed. Have a little nap and say, we're going to go on rewind, click, okay, start over.
But the ouch thing was funny.
So you're going to have to now explain it, because you've explained it to us prior to recording. So you may want to just explain that, because that's going to be a big, what the fuck, everyone.
So, all right, I woke up, went back into that state of, I wasn't asleep, I wasn't awake, I was in the in-between state. And I know enough that I knew what I was thinking about. But the words were, we need to wake up, not walk out. We need to wake up, not walk out. Wake up, not walk out. That's what was going through my head. And I heard the words inside my head and it just went, ouch. And at first I thought, is that Oliver? And then it's not like I heard it again as if it was said again. It was as if it replayed in my head. And it wasn't Oliver. Almost feminine. Oh, I think it was a bigger part of the big Lisa almost. Telling me, ouch, it's going to hurt.
Some more definition in there would be nice.
That definitely connects with that experience I was sharing with you as well.
Oh, if I could remember the next line. Because I woke up a little bit out of that as soon as I heard ouch. And then I put myself back in there. And there was another line which consisted of more. It was a line. It wasn't just one single word. It was multiple words. And then I had it, and then I forgot it. And then I had it again when I went back in. And I forgot it, and then I had it again, and now I've lost it again.
I hate those fucking dreams. I hate those fucking moments.
Okay, so let me tell you the story about what she's talking about, the ouchie. Because this was before Lulu, all right? Dani, are you muted?
She's muted.
I was talking to my son.
Oh, okay. Can you tell Dee the story?
Yeah,
Okay. So this was happening to me maybe a few days before the show me Lisa and Jenny did. And I was asleep like Lisa. It was early in the morning. It was around the time where I felt like, I can't quite remember. I'm really badly losing track of time at the moment. But I had this feeling I was in this world and not in this world. So when I was going and finding myself in this other, I was laying on a bed and it was very avatar-ish with wire, like those wire things that they put down when they go into the avatar. And there was a few monitors and a couple of guys there. And as I was coming to, they were like, oh my God, she's coming to. And I was looking going, where am I? And they said, it's okay, calm down. And that's when I looked down, and in my stomach there was that wire thing had sort of like grown into the flesh of my stomach. And they were trying to get it out of me, and my stomach womb area, it was in agony. Like I was in so much pain. And as they were working on it, I'm like, no, I can't deal with this. And they said, we're so sorry. This is going to hurt. And there's no avoiding it. And they started to work, and I was in so much pain. I'm like, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm going back. And I found myself back in my bed. And that kept happening for about 5 or 6 times. I was switching back and forth. And in the end, I said, please just whatever you're doing, just knock me out. I can't be here anymore. And yeah, and then I literally woke up back in this reality, and I was still feeling that pain all in the abdomen area. That was about it. It was really, I didn't have a context for it. I didn't know what it meant. Starting to make a little bit of sense now, but that was one of the reasons I said on that show, I'm going to get the feeling that as this process goes along, it could get very physical and it could get quite painful.
How does this, do you think this relates to all the women who have been having these incredibly painful periods or unusual periods?
I can't say for sure, but it very well could be. Like the connection to it and the area of the body, because some of them have said it's not just the cramping or anything, it's that whole lower body area. Some are saying it's literally from the waist down. Some have been feeling it in the legs and everything. So in that way, I do think it could relate. But again, I'm not 100% attached to the way I'm interpreting things. Or for me, okay, let me explain this. For me, if anyone's ever had an operation and you're coming out of anesthesia, and that moment where the pain begins to hit and the pain meds wear off, that's how it felt. Like I was coming out of a dream, like I was coming out of some kind of drugged
when you were
place
when you were over there, you mean?
Yeah. And it was like I was being operated on, and I'd like, nah, put me back under. I can't take it. It's too much pain. And when I actually
went to a cesarean section with no anesthetic at one point, I know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. When I woke up, like in this, that's for me when I was like, oh, thank God I'm back in the dream. That was my instant thought. Like, oh, thank God I'm back here where it's not real, or what?
Or does it hurt?
It felt more artificial to me, or more non-realistic than it has ever felt before. That's all I can say. But then Lilu kind of come along, and I felt very distracted and forgot about it.
So, okay, in your experience, these, because you've had experiences like this before, are they metaphorical, or are they more there, or not? Are they literal?
I've never had an experience quite like this one, I've got to say. This I don't have a point of reference for this one, because it's too hard to put in words how more real that felt. Like I was literally waking up into it. It wasn't a dream. It didn't feel like a dream when that was happening. It felt like I was coming back into the dream. Most of those kind of things, as far as the metaphorical or the ones that I've had that are slightly different, such as seeing the timelines collapsing and now seeing the Mandela effect play out, they don't always happen straight away, but they have played out in physicality at a later point. So, but I don't, like I said, I don't want to sit here and say that that's exactly what it was, because there's always room for interpretation. There's always room for it showing itself to mean something later on down the track. It's just that I know it was a very notable experience and something to, for me, it was real. For me, that part was real, but then saying that, I would have to see it happen again.
Well, one of the things...
Pain.
Sorry, John, I didn't mean to cut you off. You just cracked out. I missed the last sentence that you said.
You'd have to go through it again, but that would mean pain.
Well, but the one conversation that's coming up in the Unfuckers right now, continuously, is about pain. Headaches, neck, shoulders, back, joints, like, so like you say, like, so not just like, you know, menstrual cramps or things like that, but the hips, the lower back, the thighs, the legs, knees, etc. That's been a main piece of conversation that's been ongoing for a couple of months now. It's like, just like, what the hell is this pain? Like, I have no reason. And pains that mysteriously appear and then disappear. So it's not like an injury where you've thrown your shoulder out and it's just always there. Like, it's there, and then the next day you wake up and it's the other shoulder all of a sudden. Or it's your knees.
What if, I mean, we've been saying for ages the Matrix movie was a documentary, right? What if even more so than we've thought before? What if there is
I'm just going to say, if
we're literally
look at where the plugs are in Neo when he wakes up in that pod. All down his spine, all in his arms, down his legs, in the back of his head. And
right now I can see this. I know it's as crazy as it sounds, but I can actually envision that there's a whole group of us lying in these virtual reality beds. Right? Well, just like you can now, you can put on a helmet and the glasses. You know, we laid down in these beds and we were going to go and play a game together. And something happened to the game. There was a glitch. There was a fucking Windows 10 version that no one likes. And
someone didn't like the game and decided to upload a virus to it.
yeah, and we're all stuck in it. And we're actually...
I'll teach you.
We're still lying there, and this is just this collective nightmare that we're playing out. And there actually are people trying to disconnect us from it, but they can't because it's fucking painful. And we've gone unconscious into this thing.
It explains so many things like manifesting and energy and how energy works in this, and us talking about having a collective experience and things appearing and disappearing. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that happens when you're dreaming.
Mandela effect.
Like literally saying, this is the dream time. This is the dreaming. When you look at it from that point of view and then go back through everything you've experienced, it's probably one of the most logical things I've ever thought, like it's ever come to me. It's like, oh, that's just too simple. No.
When you add all the pieces, because it's like you, Lisa, you and I, how many fucking conversations have we had on this over the years? We go, okay, we've got this piece and this one and this one and this one and this one, and you try and find, okay, what is the theory that somehow ties them all together? And you can have this theory and you can have that one, and God knows, Lisa and I've been fucking all of them. But that's the only one, to me, to my own personal opinion. That is the only theory that actually explains everything. Like how fucking cities move. Windsor, Ontario apparently is no longer in the place where Windsor, Ontario used to be. Where Morocco is now.
So what do you...
Yeah, fucking continents, like South America is way the fuck over here now, trying to like make it with Africa.
And it's also that, you know, that wherever we look, we find something. In the sense of we're creating wherever we put our focus on. So, I mean, I was already at the point where this was a simulation, right? This was a construct. This was a game, so to speak. But I thought I was in it. I thought I was literally in it, physically in it. And I don't think I am anymore. I think I'm physically out of it, but my consciousness is the only thing that's in it. And all I can say is wake up, not walk out. Wake up, not walk out is what was running through my head this morning when I woke up. Wake up, not walk out. And then out.
It can explain telepathy. It can explain why we think we see these ghosts and these other types of things as well. You know, I mean, just explains everything as far as I'm concerned. It seems very logical. And at the same time, if we look at it like, what if it was a literal virus or a parasite in our actual body that was there? Then that would also explain why we felt attacked and why people have different versions of it. And, you know, are these projections and these chasing our tails, is this a virus that, you know, when we get really bad viruses, we can hallucinate. We can go into a coma and we can hallucinate, and we can have all of this. And, you know, some people will see some really weird shit when they do that. So if it could even be that, like, what if it was like, as we were doing it, there was a sickness or a literal virus, a parasitic virus that went into our system, that was activated by it somehow. I mean, that's just a what if theory. I wouldn't even have a clue as to if that's true. But it's another thought that there is a parasite, and this parasite doesn't want us to wake up, because that means healing. If we completely heal and wake up, then its life is gone as well. And viruses would rather kill their host than die. You know, that's their whole thing, is survive, survive, survive. So there's that aspect as well to consider. Or we could just be having a nightmare.
Well, I mean,
the aspect when it gets a nightmare, yeah.
the whole concept of programmers, right? And we said, okay, let's hypothesize that we are somewhere lying in one of these some kind of a virtual reality bed, pod, whatever. It may not have been like, you know, the idea of like a virus downloaded into the program. It could be someone literally controlling the program. I.e., these are some of these interferences that we even see. The distractions that, like we've talked about this last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, has been insane with distractions. So it's like, oh wait, they're getting close. Oh, okay, so let's load in the next distraction, and it's like this next piece loads into the distraction. And I honestly, after talking to you guys this morning, my morning, your last night, is that what the whole Mandela effect was about? Is that what the whole Mandela effect was about? Was not that it was a breaking down of the matrix, is that they were loading fucking huge distractions in to keep us focused on what's the next Mandela effect? What's the next one going to happen? Well, and I was literally, okay, every day going and looking, let's see what's happened this time. Oh, it's been like 4 or 5 days since we've had a really major one. Something will have come up. In the last 3 weeks, I haven't given jack shit about the Mandela. I haven't even gone looking. The whole thing with Windsor having moved was someone just sent me a message, literally just about an hour and a half ago, saying, I just saw a video. So
it could go the opposite direction too.
I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling the Mandela effect.
I'm feeling more like, you know, when you begin to wake up from a dream, and that's when you start realizing, hey, there's some really weird stuff. When you write in a dream, you're like, it's so real to you and you're so invested in it. You can wake up literally crying from some of these dreams. Is the Mandela effect more of we're starting to wake up, and as we're beginning to wake up in wherever we are, the dream shifting to let us know? Or is it like what you said last night, Dee? Did they like go, we really need to get these guys awake and just dial that shit right up so that this weird stuff is happening everywhere? So we go, oh, wait a minute, this reality is not quite as real as I thought it was.
Because when you're in a dream, your bus turns into a car, turns into a plane, turns into a motorbike, and then
next thing you're on a boat and it's pink flowers.
And you don't even blink. It's just it's normal in the dream. But then you wake up and you go, wait a minute, that was like way too much.
This feels so
right. Problems.
It honestly feels so right to me that if we had enough people just screaming at themselves to wake up, that we might.
Maybe is that what we've been doing? Is this real, like this theme of wake up world, wake up sheeples? Is it literally about waking up to the fuckery, or are we subconsciously been trying to trigger each other to literally wake up because we haven't woken up? we haven't woken up to the fact we're in a fucking dream.
Yeah.
And we're screaming at each other, wake up, is, even that fits, which is quite ironic.
Everyone repeat after me. I'm done with this fuckery. Everyone just wake up.
What do you think, John?
Well, the idea of everybody screaming, wake up, you have to let go of the dream. There's been some dreams I've had where I don't want to wake up. I want to keep going, and I'm annoyed when I wake up. I'm thinking, this was so cool, this was so much fun, I want to go back. And I think that's a big part of it, in that so many people are invested in this construct that they just can't let go of it. I had another thought, something that Dee had said, but it sort of eluded me now. I'm getting used to that, though. I've had this concept of the dream come to me a number of times over the last 10 years, and the idea that we're actually in this constructed game. There's a whole whack of people in this big room with helmets on our heads, and we're stuck. And that I've had that for years. That idea, and the idea of the that's where basically I get the idea of the virtual reality thing. And so that's not new. That isn't a new perspective, and from my point of view, it does answer a lot of questions. Oh, the Mandela effect. That's right. Instead of, I don't see the Mandela effect being that it's distraction trying to keep us away from this. I think it's a construct that we've created in order to get us to question, get us to go, wait a minute, this ain't happening. This is not right. This is not real. And start that questioning process. Which, when you get through a dream, there's some dreams I've had where they were just so off the wall. I'm like, this ain't real. And then I wake up.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of leaning towards that as far as, at this point of view anyway, or at this point, my viewpoint is that what's going on, the ship's disappearing, Morocco moving, tornadoes in places that don't have tornadoes. Whales
in suburban areas on people's front
lawns. Cows turning up where they don't have cows. Exactly. It's kind of like that dream that gets just so out of hand that you just go, this is ridiculous.
That's exciting, because that usually happens at the end of the dream. Just
right.
Before you wake up, things get so bizarre.
You're like, okay.
It starts to morph that you go, oh, fuck, it's a dream.
Yeah.
And so that, to me, I'm fucking bring them on.
Well, also I'm looking at the kind of premise of. Sorry, Dee, go ahead.
Purple polka dot cows, bring it on. We're ready for that.
Yeah, I'm also kind of looking at it in the using the concept as above, so below. In that, what we experience in our current state dream is going to play out in the larger picture as well, because there really isn't anything new under the sun. It's all been thought of. It's all been done. So we're just replaying the same scripts over and over again. So, little differences here and there. I can buy into that, because I don't see it as a radical change from what we've already experienced in some form.
So I want to bring up something, because Lisa, you talked about the Matrix movie. And of course, one of the big parts of the Matrix movie is, of course, there he was just having his little life and his office job, which sucked. But, he got his hot dogs from the hot dog vendor or whatever. He went through his life. And when he wakes up, of course, it's in this gray, dismal, horrifying existence.
Post-apocalyptic,
etc. And we've talked about belief structures. I mean, God knows how many times we read the stories about, someone who believes in hell and has a near-death experience experiences hell. someone who has a different belief structure. So I wonder if there isn't a fear of waking up, and a lot of people, even people who are awake, is it the fear of what they're waking up to? Because if you have old programming in there, old belief structures that are somehow hiding whether it's, demons and religious devils, etc., or it's, you're going to be reincarnated as a cockroach, or there's something there, even if it's some new age kind of crap, does that create like a fear form of letting go, of truly wanting to wake up, in that a fear of the unknown, especially that we've gotten with the whole stuff with Lilu, is that we've had this massive look at belief structures and programming, and a lot of people really, I think every one of us went through at least one or two moments of going, oh, wait a second, I need to look at that for a second. Why did I react that way?
To me, we're all Neos. And for me and for you guys, I suppose, too, Lilu is your Morpheus. And there'll be a Morpheus for everyone if you're open to it. It will offer you a red pill. I even thought about visualizing, when I'm in that state just between awake and sleep, of taking the red pill. Like this will wake me up. Maybe we just need something symbolic. The pills that gets offered to him are symbolic.
Yeah.
It's not actually happening. They're not happening to Neo in the tub. They're happening to the Neo in the game.
Exactly.
So it's a metaphoric that wakes him up.
Yeah, the red pill was described in the movie as simply a trace program so they could find him.
Yeah. It's just a tracer. It's a trace program. Exactly.
And I think I said to Lisa last night, is it because our focus was on home, so much so that, like Morpheus connected to Leo through the computer first, was it because we were at such a conscious level of beginning to awaken that a communication that they used to have with us was able to penetrate and appear into our computer, which is, if it's a dream, then computers aren't real, and was it talking to us? But if it got co-opted by the parasites, the viruses, the programmers, whatever, that are trying to keep us under, and then we start chasing and we're going back and investing in the game, is this right? Why, like everyone's going, I can't get in touch with them anymore. I've lost contact with them and I have this field over me. And is it because we started going back into the game and investing and chasing out chasing all those rabbit holes? Was that the one thing they had to keep us here? And that's why we lost contact. Was it just a program to sort of contact us like I did with Neo, go, hello, you're in a game. Somebody
sitting on the other side on the virtual reality bed, sitting on your chest, screaming at you. And you get just enough consciousness to kind of blink your eyes a little bit. Oh, they're there. And then you lose it again. Yeah, there's a million ways to look at it. But I mentioned before about I'm viewing a lot of what we're experiencing now as really figurative. When they're saying that we made contact, but there's a field around you, what are they actually saying? Is it like an energy field, or is it, or are they're using terms we can understand to describe something that's a little out of our realm? Like the field could be that your level of consciousness.
That's what
your focus.
Yeah, exactly. If we assume that the virtual reality bed deal is relatively accurate, just for the mind game that we're playing here, then they're sitting on our chest, smacking us across the face, screaming at us, and we get just enough coherence to just give them a sign.
Yeah. Well,
right?
I had a conversation with Donna and Lisa this morning, which is why we're having this conversation now. And one of the things that I said is, when we were doing going back to the conversation about energetic doings and going and chasing down yellow emperor and these various entities, etc. The big realization that I had yesterday morning when I'd woken up, and I'd had again one of these kind of insane nights too, was the fact of everything I was looking for, because I wasn't involved in those specific things. I was on my own little mission, but I was looking in the construct. And it just all of a sudden that thought is like, okay, wait, if I'm looking for the answer, why am I looking in the construct for the answer? The answer's not going to be in the construct. The answer's outside of the construct. And yet all this focus is on everything that's all within the construct.
It just keeps us doing this inside.
Yep.
Yep.
Focusing, what did you say? Where your attention goes, the energy flows?
Used to keep us swirling around inside this thing.
Over the years, you guys went through this in a big time in Morocco. And when we're dealing with the 3D controllers, the way you deal with them is you just simply make them irrelevant. You don't fight them. You don't struggle with them. They don't matter. I'm doing my own thing. I'll beg for forgiveness rather than ask permission. What if that is the same thing that we need to do here? Just make the construct irrelevant, so it doesn't matter anymore. Let go of our attachment to it.
Well, that's
absolutely. I think that was what Darius was pointing to and reminding us. And I mean, I was, having the same is just shift your focus to where you want to be. Go home. I want to go home. Just stay focused on that and not engage with all the storylines that are being presented. Having said that, was fantastic doing these doings, because for me it was a lot of confirmation. And my last piece that yes, this is illusionary, and seeing these four constantly appearing over and over again was when I started going. And one of them was seeing fake overlays of these individuals all the time. And for me, okay, so even though I had the feeling we were going home, I was like, Lisa, I was seeing myself walk out. When I had that thing with the stomach, I was like, nah, this is too painful, put me back in. When I did this process with the doings, I think the one thing I took out of it was really being able to finally embrace that it didn't matter what we did, they were going to keep playing this, and it was going to be endless. And I needed to see that. So it wasn't a waste of time for me. But it would be a complete waste of time to continue now going down that path and continuing to do something I've now seen as, so that's how you do it. I suspected it, but that's my proof. That's my evidence. And I needed that. Some people didn't need that. Some people probably already got this, but some of us haven't. And some of us needed to do that. And some people may continue to need to still do that until, the friggin' world and the dream gets so crazy. They go, oh, I get it now too.
Yeah. My overwhelming today is the relevance of it all.
Yeah, there's just so many ways you can approach this. And until we can get the one actual spearhead moment to actually break through some of the crap that we've been through for however many lifetimes there have been, I think we're going to wind up kind of chasing our tails a little bit for the next little while anyway. I don't want to actually create that, but I think that's pretty likely, and I think it's necessary too.
Based on current observations.
It's all based on what I know at this moment, and what I can see from this moment. 2 days from now, it's probably going to change, which is fine. I don't have a problem with that, and that's the way you do it. Is you take the information you've got and you run with it until you get some more information.
Exactly.
I think that's why for me personally, as much as I've enjoyed this, I've been saying for the whole time, I'm not attached. it's a way of me getting a little bit more insight, but you always have to be prepared to let that story go and let it morph and let it shift as the information comes through, and let yourself flow with that. You don't do that, you become stagnant. You don't do that, you get stuck. And you will forced in some way or another to have to shift anyway. But it's been an incredible experience, even just to get to this insight. And like John said, it could be something different in a week, you know. I suspect maybe, you know, be more of the process. But looking at that bed thing, what John's saying is, you know, I'm not sure they're literally sitting on our chest screaming at us to wake up. I'm more thinking of if I don't know if the feed was trying to show me something that I could relate to, being the avatar bed. But in a sense, it felt like they were working on us. In one form or another, they were helping us. And, you know, maybe we're in hospital somewhere, or maybe we're just laying on the ground. Maybe it's just a visual for me to understand that this is going to be painful in some way. But, you know, just that alone was enough to go, I'm right, I'll go back into the dream. You know, I'm happy, like, I'm not quite ready, because if I'd woken up at that point, for me, it was like literally seeing something being ripped from my body. Like, imagine 2 inches deep, and then someone, you know, 7 or 8 hard wires, and then just rip it out. You know, you would be in extreme agony. I think maybe, like, you know, there's something going on there, if that's what it is, that is already happening, and maybe it's just a matter of time and a little bit of patience. But I'm certainly just going to be focusing on home again. I'm going to home in Beacon Call, and that's it for me.
Yeah. The more I explore this idea of the video game, the virtual reality simulation, just about every time I'm pondering this, I get a very strong feeling of how do I describe it? Remote control of the consciousness is back there somewhere, and I'm just kind of, you know, this body, this awareness at this place at this time is just a really cool remote control car. And I can almost, it's so vague, it's actually, it's really vague, but it's also really concrete that there is a distance, there is a space between consciousness and what I'm experiencing here.
You had a dream. I mean, I've had, for the first time in my life over the last few weeks, inception experiences, dreams within dreams within dreams, where I'm waking up 2-3 times. And John, you had a dream not that long ago where you were somewhere else that looked beautiful, that looked like the description of home, talking to people, you were having great conversations, and then they asked if you wanted to stay, or do you want to come home now, or whatever. So what if, and this is what I'm feeling and seeing, is that not only are they, you know, medically, physically trying to work on our bodies, but they've also got a bunch of people around who are trying to connect with us telepathically and consciously, trying to tap in. Is that what
that's kind of like, or why I use the example of some guy sitting on your chest, smacking you, screaming at you. Because it sort of ties all that together. It creates that visual of they're working on any possibility, anything they can do to make this happen.
Yeah. And the screaming at you might be in your head.
Time now.
Entirely possible, certainly.
There was a woman in the UU room last night that literally said she at some point saw herself, and then she saw multiple versions of herself in the room, like not just 1 or 2, but like 6 or 7. And she was like, oh, holy crap, you know, what is going on there? So are these mergers, or are these, again, these glitches that are happening in our own dreaming that are like, wake up, you're not where you think you are. That was pretty extreme, and that's just been accelerating more and more and more since we did that show. And the pain aspect, another thing. So yeah, I feel, I'm like you, Lisa. This feels me. I don't know why, but
I think it's about staying in observer mode. I think that's, like I said, one of the best lessons we got out of all of this is how to observe and stay in a place where you're open to everything that's coming in and let it flow and just observe everything as it takes place.
Okay, it does feel like it's only a matter of time. However, I'm impatient and I want to speed things up.
I have the button.
Can you
So just
fucking press it once and for all, please?
button. It's over. See that? I'm pressing the fucking button.
Well, you know how in Inception, they gave themselves tokens.
Yeah. Yep.
I wonder.
Yeah, there's been a number of movies where they're dealing with dreams and lucid dreaming, and in order to wake up, you rub your ear or you say this word, or there's always been some trigger.
And we've forgotten our triggers.
Maybe. Or the trigger changed.
Or the triggers have been changed, yeah.
Okay, I can't think of anything for myself right now, but I'm wondering whether or not, if we have a good look through our lives, is there something that just keeps turning up for us? Whether it's a physical object, whether it's a word that gets, an unusual word that gets repeated to you by other people who are trying to remind you. Is there a dream? Is there something that just keeps showing up in your life that is trying to remind you of what your trigger is? Because I believe we have one for some reason that maybe it's our password out of here. If it's a virtual reality game, it's, you've got to put your password in to get out.
Click your heels together 3 times.
If you type it wrong 3 times, you go back to the beginning again. Is that it? No.
Q, Q, Q. Those who play video games know what I'm talking about.
As simple as home. Just, I don't know, just recognizing or accepting that reality is, for whatever intents and purposes, is not what we think it is. There's no way Mandela effects and things like this that have been happening can happen. True physical reality that we've been believing for centuries. And I don't know if at any point in history, even in repeated history, that we've ever questioned our reality as much as we have in the past 12 months or year and a half. I just don't think of any, and I think it's literally the end of the dream. And yes, you're impatient, Lisa, but after I had that thing with the, pain and knowing that they were somehow working on me, like, I'm not impatient as you, because I just think there's a sort of a bit of mercy happening right now to save us an excruciating wake up as opposed to a more gentle but continuous wake up. It's as Dee said, they're turning it up, and they're turning it up, and turning it up, and they're turning it up.
11.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, but
I don't fucking care about the pain.
I know, I'm actually there too. I don't give a fuck. I will go through whatever I have to go through.
I'll rip the Band-Aids off all by myself.
No. I would have said the same thing
Until
if I hadn't had that experience. Like, we're not talking a little bit of pain. We're talking...
I get it.
You guys are nuts.
No. No.
But, okay.
That's how much I don't fucking care anymore.
When you say you try to make it gentle...
C-section without anti... Sorry, Lisa.
When you say gentle and a bit of mercy, are you talking on our physical bodies or our mental, emotional bodies? Because Even if we
I'm talking about our bodies back there.
you've to,
Bodies back there.
you've to,
Well, assuming
They've
that their
got-
physical body's back there.
Yeah, assuming that there even is a physical body back there, so I'm not even completely sold on that one yet, so.
well, would
Yeah,
there
that's
have
true.
experienced that much pain if there wasn't?
We talk about, dreams give us an information that we don't necessarily, that our conscious can accept, that we may not have the words for or the experience of, and maybe, like, again, metaphor, you got physical pain because you wouldn't get what they were trying to tell you.
Like I said, this was not a reference of what I felt was a dream, because it was happening over the entire night. Normally when you dream and you wake up and then you go back in, your dream shifts and it changes. Well, this was just one entire night of the same thing happening over and over and over again, and nothing changed. There was nothing morphed, nothing changed. It was literally an 8-hour experience of switching between the two. And
So you didn't feel
the only other way.
into a dream. You felt like you were literally going into, like, it was two different states of consciousness.
I felt like I was like waking up there and recognizing for the first time this was me dreaming. This was me in some type of a coma. And it's the only way I can relate to it, way of when you've had an operation and you're waking up from anesthetic and you're going, oh shit, this fucking hurts. It was like,
I'm getting the feeling that we shouldn't have drank Kool-Aid over there.
Oh, God.
I'm just trying to figure out what my trigger is right now. Apart from,
I'm going to go to bed and I'm going to set the intent tonight. Like, crash my head on my pillow of, like, you're going to remember your fucking trigger and you'll just keep pressing that trigger or seeing the trigger or saying the trigger or whatever the trigger is. Just going to press the fucking button and say, I'm awake, I'm awake, I'm awake, wake up. That's all.
Well, it could be as simple as the mechanism we use now. And that is simply realizing you're dreaming and going, okay, off. And it's
exactly.
it's the depth, the conviction of that realization that's the trigger with this.
I have that realization multiple times a day.
Yeah, but how deep does it go? How, is it actually concrete within your belief system?
Oh yeah, it's real fucking concrete, let me tell you. Let me tell you how concrete it is.
Well, no, but it's not, it doesn't stay, because there'll be a day someone comes along and will say, well, let's just go and have a look at that. And suddenly we find ourselves back in the construct searching for, something within it. We're like literally getting, it's for me, that 3 months I spent literally having disconnected from every storyline, looking around, just going, it's not real, was when I had that dream. Well, not a dream, when I had that experience. So I think it's consistent being so mentally strong as to not buy into the next storyline that could tempt us beyond anything to just like, oh, let's go chase this little rabbit down the hole and find ourselves in Alice in Wonderland once again. It's literally a consistency to be there, because it took 2 or 3 months of this in this reality to even get to that experience, to the point where I thought I was actually waking up, and not recognizing it as waking up until now, but 3 months of disconnection. I didn't buy into anything, like nothing. I mean, I was falling through the UV room just going, no, I can't engage. I can't engage with any of these stories, and I can't engage with the politicals, and I can't engage with the save this and the save that, and let's look at this and let's look at that. I just was literally going outside, doing my gardening, going, why am I even doing this? But it seemed more more interesting at the time while I was dealing with this. Before I had that, so
Yeah, the big problem with this is that if somebody does figure it out, they're not leaving instructions behind. They're just gone.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I don't think it's going to be the same thing for everybody. I think each one is going to have their own unique triggers that each has to individually find.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
When you go through the process of going from sheeple to questioner, there's always one event, one thing that makes you go, wait a minute, stop. I got to think about this. And then your life changes. And it's different for every single person. No two people have the same trigger event. So this is probably going to be very similar to that. You got to get to the point where you say, I've had enough. No, stop.
Like no two people have the same token in that inception.
Yep.
All I can say is if any of you guys wake up before me, can you just fucking slap me? Pull that shit out. I don't care what you have to do or how painful it is. Just get me out.
Ditto, darling. So whichever of us gets out first, just bitch slap the other one until they wake up.
Yeah. All right, we're going to let you go to sleep.
Yeah, I'm fading fast.
Okay.
I have to go get Eli ready for school.
Yeah.
Thanks for the chat.
Well, you guys have a good day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Have a good sleep with the